Shalom and good day all, this is Healing29 back again for another indie comic review, and in this indie comic review I'll be covering Gargoyles issue 3 followed by Boogyman issue 6. So I'll get things quickly organised for the comic that I'll be reviewing first, and that is for Gargoyles issue 3. So starting off with first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside with the story? Sure enough it does, to which I give it a 7 out of 10. It's now time to move into the area of the internal art, which we'll have a look around the beginning, middle and end, as well as some of the things that are happening with some of the characters, as well as the story. So let's get to it, starting now. So as we move into the beginning of the story, we meet up with some of the key characters in the cast. We've got Broadway, we got Eliza, of course Goliath, and many others that make up the cast. And let's not forget this. As the story continues, we see some action occurring in regards to one of the buildings. And I must admit, I do think this one could have been slightly better in pointing out locations. But did that actually take away from the story? And last but not least, towards the end, to which these characters are working with the couple who have their new offspring or baby, to which they'll be taking care of. But I'm just going to share a little spoiler here at the end. As soon as we learn that there's something more to this child, and we got to find out next issue. So for the internal art, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I actually quite enjoy the artwork in this, as it presently it has been quite consistent within these first 3 issues. I really hope that continues, because I'd like to go ahead with reviewing this series. Next is the area of the story. So first things first, does this story cover anything in the area of time as to when these time of events are taking place? No, it doesn't, which is really disappointing. The next is the area of location. Do we get any indication as to where, like, direct being told where it's happening? No, we don't. We can make out a few places, but nothing really clear and set in stone, like these gargoyles. But moving into last but not least, and that is the cast of characters, something we did actually get quite a bit of. We had Broadway, Eliza Mazer, Talon, Mary, David Xanatos. We had Owen, we had Goliath, we had, I think it's Celeria, Alexander, Thailand, Coldfire, we had Dino Dragon, who was in the prison, and again, because it didn't acknowledge or show that the characters, or show some of the characters were in prison, we also had Jack, and one more, I think it's Jinpei. For the overall story writing in this, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I'll now get things prepared to cover the next comic that will be reviewed, and that is Boogyman issue 6. So as we jump into moving to reviewing Boogyman issue 6, first things first, does this cover in any way, shape or form connect to something that's happening inside with the story? Sure enough, it does, to which this story is a little bit sadder than some of the previous stories. And I'm not going to reveal just yet. So for the cover, we get a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the internal art and also to see what's happening story-wise. So as the art begins, we can see that the police have actually started to come into the scene, and we get some of these people going up against the police, and they almost feel like, or not the police, we see something happening with Father Death and one of the characters that he's going up against in the background, and also the police inspecting the scene. The art is actually quite good for this. It has actually been consistent from first to last issue, or being consistent first to present issue. As we start to jump towards the middle of the story, we finally start to catch up with what's happening with Elliot in this scene, and some of the events that he sees in relation to the character, and you can see that something big and bad is about to happen. Jumping towards the end, we catch up with Elliot once again, but as you can see this time around, it looks like he's been found by the police. But the police are looking, and he's also come across like another monster in this universe, until he's finally been found by the police. And you can certainly see this will bring us to where things sort of led to the beginning of the story, to where he was being interviewed. And that's all I'll show right now. So for the internal art, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. Now it's time to move into the area of the story. First things first, did we get anything in the area of time? Seeing that this is a new series, did we get anything to indicate what the time was throughout the story? No, we didn't. What about location? Not much in location. I couldn't really make out, or we didn't have a very clear description as to where, or it wasn't pointed out by the writer, let alone the editor. Yet it would not hurt to include it in the story. And last but not least, the cast of characters. Of course, we saw the characters of the police there, but we didn't get any specific name from any of the officers. We, of course, had Father Death, and not going to reveal any spoilers. You have to check it out yourself as to what's happening with that character. And last but not least, we had the character of Elliot, who we have seen from the first issue to this present issue. The overall story rating for this I gave was a 7 out of 10. Until then, let's keep it colourful and have yourself an awesome day.